The Textus Roffensis, the Rochester book, belongs to the chapter of Rochester Cathedral. It has a special place in the history of the English-speaking people. Yet, it is relatively unknown, a hidden treasure.
At the time of the conquest, the cathedral community here had shrunk to 4 canons who are described by Archbishop Lanfranc, who visited shortly thereafter, as rather dispirited. The decision was then taken to refound the community as a Benedictine house. And as part of that enterprise, a huge amount of effort went into building up a library for the cathedral. By the time that the Textus Roffensis was copied in the 1120s, a library of about 90 books had been assembled. Most of them were the texts containing the Fathers of the Church, St. Augustine, Ambrose, Gregory the Great, those kinds of texts. The Textus Roffensis is a little different in that it contains the laws of Kent and also copies of documents that describe the establishment of the cathedral at Rochester going back to the 7th century.
The Textus Roffensis is in 2 sections, which at some point were bound together. The first section contains the only known copies of 7th century law codes, the first codes of English law drawn up under the Anglo-Saxon king Ethelbert of Kent.
The early law codes, like Ethelbert of Kent, are straight compensation. You knock my front teeth out, you pay this. You cut my finger off, you pay this. You rape my serving girl, you pay this. It's a system of compensation, inflexible, just a tariff. And the brilliant thing about the book is that what you see in the course of the book is the transition of law from primitive, compensatory, retributive systems to a more flexible system where they are attempting to enact justice in response to the situation. So it's an encyclopedia of English law, if you like.
The Textus Roffensis includes the master copy of the Coronation Charter of Henry I, which influenced the wording of the Magna Carta of 1215, and later the American Declaration of Independence of 1776. This small book may not look remarkable at first glance, but it is of great importance and tells us much about where English laws and language began and how our own present-day thinking is rooted in 7th century Kent.
Along with our literature and our language, our law and our ideas on freedom, our parliamentary system and everything, they are the things that have gone out across the whole world. And that book is the very root of that. This makes this book of absolutely supreme importance. I'm biased, I know, but I'd say that, you've got Doomsday Book and you've got Shakespeare's First Folio. There are a few crucial works in the history of our civilization in the British Isles, and this is one of the most important texts that you could possibly have.
One of the most interesting questions about the Textus Roffensis is why go to the trouble of making this book? I think one of the possible answers to that question is that it's all about trying to express the identity of the community at Rochester in a way that looks back to the earliest days of the cathedral. Now, some of that story is told in the texts themselves, the legal texts and the documents. But it's also important to look at the physical artifact of the book. The script that they used in Textus Roffensis is a variation on a bookhand that they learned probably from the monks at Christ Church in Canterbury, but that they developed into a style that is known as the Rochester prickly style, and also in the decoration in the book. Now, it's not a very richly decorated book, but there are decorative elements, and of these, the most striking is the initial letter that begins the cartulary, which is a great R constructed of a saint and a dragon making the shape of the R. And those components, the script, the decoration, and the text all come together to really make a statement about Rochester as a distinct community, distinct especially from Christ Church in Canterbury.
As part of our Hidden Treasures Fresh Expressions project, the Cathedral has commissioned the production of a complete digital reproduction. This will enable us to make a virtual version of the Textus available to the widest possible audience via the internet, allowing scholars and conservators to examine the book in detail, not possible with the original.
I am Senior Photographer at the Centre for Heritage Imaging and Collection Care based at the University of Manchester. We provide object-centred digitisation and collection care services to ensure the protection of the object is at the heart of the process. Members of the Sheet team travelled to Kent to carry out the digitisation. The manuscript was transported to the Kent History Centre so the work could take place in a secure, climate-controlled environment. Due to the age and the unique nature of this book, it needs to be maintained in consistent temperature and humidity conditions. Specialist equipment was used to ensure the highest quality images and to support the book throughout the entire process. The images will be used to a wide variety of purposes, including exhibitions, digital and paper facsimiles, and academic study.